Angela and Ron here to talk about GMOs. Can you tell us about yourself first?
Well, we represent the March Against Monsanto. We also go by the name of the Right to Know, Right to Grow. We're a body of just volunteers as well. We find that the information is so very, very important that we, make it our mission to let as many people as we possibly can know really what's going on about the food, about the seeds, and just about, the whole industry of really what's hijacking our health, and it's denying us the right to really have a say in what it is that we're taking in, as long as they keep it camouflaged.
So how long have you been with the GMO, Ron?
Well, I've been with Right to Know, Right to Grow just for about 5 months now. But I've been doing research and having personal experience with genetically modified organisms since about 1995.
There you are. So it's been a long time.
Very much so. And
what about you, Angela?
For me, it began in 2011 with a lot of medical problems that I had, and it caused me to do some research myself. And I've been looking into it since
So
then.
since 2011, what changes do you see?
Oh, my goodness. From 2011, at that time, I suffered from COPD. I wore oxygen 24 hours a day. And I suffered from major arthritic fibromyalgia pains. So taking those genetically modified foods out of my diet began to immediately allow me to see a health turnaround.
So what is a GMO?
GMOs, genetically modified organisms, also known as genetically engineered foods. They are produced by what you would call biotech companies, which are really chemical companies. And what they do is take genes from one species, whether plants or animal, and inject them into another plant or animal life, thereby creating a new species that nature never intended. So there are really no balances against the harmful new life forms that are created. Now, GMOs are in about 90% of all corn, about 96% of all soy, 54% of all sugar comes from the sugar beet. That's also genetically modified. Canola oils, alfalfa, you name it. There are a host of products that have been genetically modified. Now, GMOs themselves, the chemical companies feel that nature, or they at least think that nature has failed, and they think it's their right and responsibility to correct nature by creating these artificial life forms.
But I'm sure nature has its own ways to counteract that.
Well, that's why we're here. We're part of nature. We want to educate people. Right. We want to give people information and also encourage people to do their own research in these areas, and they might find a lot of correlation between the things that are happening in their lives, especially in their bodies and their health, to direct correlations to the GMOs.
So why is the government supporting this program?
Well, the FDA has a policy of non-regulation for GMOs, and the FDA has also covered up a lot of the health risk. They have determined that GMOs can be declared generally recognized as safe, and that's their standard, GRAS. I don't know if your listeners have heard of that, but in order to do that, they don't have to do any extensive testing. The company themselves can say it's okay, and the FDA sides right along with that principle of that policy. And that's pretty much how we got into the position that we're in. There was no testing done on GMOs. We ourselves have been the test.
So what has been done up to now? Nothing.
No. There have been some tests outside of the FDA. Ron?
Well, there's actually the FDA has approved these GMOs based on 90-day studies submitted by the very companies who are producing this themselves. And I think that represents a conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
Now, 90-day studies, the reason that Monsanto and the other biotech companies only submit 90-day studies is because they know the harm doesn't show in the test animals until 120 days. And a French scientist, G. Seralini, actually, who's an independent